Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Me, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. More information about chapter 1060 has been leaked, and now we have some very important additional information for us to understand about what could be happening in this next chapter. This information could give us further details about the power that Imsama holds in his hands, a new temporary crew member of the Straw Hats, and even those responsible for taking the life of King Cobra Nefertari. So in today's video, we're going to go over the second leak for chapter 1060 of One Piece, all the information that we've learned about this chapter so far, and then we'll also comment on each piece so that we can then get an idea of how this full chapter may be laid out. But before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel or even if you've watched a bunch of our videos, we'd be absolutely honored if you'd leave us a like or even subscribe and maybe leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out and motivates us to make more content. And if you'd like to help us out in a bigger way, consider sharing this video or your favorite with a friend. But without further ado, let's get into these leaks. So my friends, as we always like to say in these leak videos, please remember that these are just leaks and we don't have the full information of the chapter. So as more leaks come out throughout the week, we will be sure to bring you more videos with as much detail as possible, keep you informed about what's going to be happening in this upcoming chapter. Please also keep in mind that there could be translation errors or things could actually be in a different order once we get the official translation that comes out later this week. So we'll just take what we have and then we'll wait for the full chapter that will be released soon. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel so we can bring you the best information about these leaks as they're getting published. So before we dig in, as we do with all of our leak videos, before going into depth and explaining what each topic in the leak means, we're going to give you an overview list of each topic that's going to happen in chapter 1060 and then go into detail with each in turn. So for this list, we have got 14 things for you that we are going to cover in these leaks. First, Luffy reveals his dream to his companions and we see their reactions. Second, Sabo is continuing on his call to Dragon. Third, it seems that Sabo is in the kingdom of Lelouch and he says that he saw a person sitting on the empty throne. Fourth, Imsama appears in the chapter talking about some certain issues. Fifth, the 5 Elder Stars are also in this chapter. Sixth, the real culprits for taking King Cobra Nefertari's life is revealed. Seventh, Imsama comes up with a map on which the kingdom of Lelouch is crossed out. Eighth, dark clouds and lightning appear over the kingdom of Lelouch. Ninth, an object is seen falling from the sky over the kingdom. 10th, the chapter also seems to focus a bit more on the crew. 11th, we see the kingdom of Lelouch is destroyed. 12th, the Straw Hats rescue Bonney and place her inside the ship while she recovers. 13th, at the end of the chapter, the bounty for Bonney is revealed. And finally, 14th, we're gonna be having a break, so there is no One Piece next week. So my friends, now that we've talked about each of the topics in this chapter, let's take each one and go a little deeper and look at how it might fit into the overall story and how it might happen in this chapter of 1060. The chapter opens with Robin reading the newspaper and she starts to tell everyone about the news that Sabo had taken King Cobra's life while they were in Wano. Luffy refuses to believe this news, saying that this had to be a lie or just made up because he knows his brother's character. And Luffy goes on to say that Sabo just wants to free everyone, so he would never take a life unnecessarily. We can also see that Caribou is on the ship with the rest of the crew of the Straw Hats, and we don't know if he's gonna stay for long or if he's just hitching a ride with them, but he did get Luffy to promise that he would give him a ride off of Wano. But we did see that Caribou does seem to have a goal of his own and is working for somebody else outside. It really does seem that he intends to tell someone that Pluton is in Wano, some mysterious person, and it's possible, very possible, that this could be Teach. So he may just be with the Straw Hats so he can get away to the next island and then leave alone to go inform Teach. Luffy then says that he wants to go to Alabasta to see Vivi because he's worried about her. I mean, now that her father has had his life taken away in Marijois, she must be really sad and needs her friends around her to keep her company and maybe even to go after the people responsible. However, Zoro interrupts him by saying that Vivi wasn't in Alabasta, so Luffy says that they should go to Marijois, but Zoro stops him again, saying that it would be a really risky thing to do. And at the end of the conversation, Luffy, Nami, Chopper, and Sanji insult Zoro, causing a pretty comical scene. In this chapter, we also see Luffy begins to tell his crew members about his dream. Now, we don't get to see the dream, or at least we haven't seen that in the leaks. We only get to see the Straw Hats' astonished reaction when they hear about this dream that Luffy had at some point in his life. But this dream concerns him and Roger, something that could be really significant for the future of the story, as the Straw Hats are quite surprised to hear Luffy telling them about this dream. Although we don't know anything about what this dream is, so it still could be something quite benign. Next, we go on to see that the conversation between Sabo and Dragon is continuing, and it's probably been quite a long time because Sabo may be recounting some of the events that happened in Marijois. It also appears that during the conversation that Sabo was able to clarify what had happened to Dragon and explain that he was not the one responsible for taking the life of the King of Alabasta. And in one moment we see that Dragon's anxiety and worry and fear that his right-hand man had done something awful is completely relieved. As the conversation continues, Sabo reveals his supposed location. However, it's likely that Sabo knew that he was having his call intercepted, so he may have given the wrong location so that the world government or the Marines wouldn't try and find him. Sabo says that he's in the kingdom of Lelouch, a place where the world government has total control, which means that Sabo would still be in significant danger and would need help to escape from this location. Next, Sabo reveals that he saw a person sitting on the empty throne, of course referring to Imsama. Now we don't know if Sabo only saw their silhouette or the body or even their full face, because if Sabo saw what Imsama looked like, this would be incredible information for the revolutionaries. Knowing for sure that there is someone sitting on the empty throne, and that means that there is someone controlling the world government and it's not the 20 kingdoms. Now, obviously Sabo doesn't know Imsama's identity, but he does know of his existence. And even if the information just stopped there, this alone gives the revolutionaries a huge tactical advantage, because as he's passing this information on to his allies, the world government, as they're listening in, also hears about this devastating information. So as the world government has been listening in, this allowed them to find Sabo's supposed location, and they immediately seemed to inform Imsama, which caused Imsama to take some very urgent action regarding Sabo. As the scene turns to Imsama, we see that they're near the Gorosei, and they start to discuss the information that he had just received. And during the conversation, it was said that the Gorosei had ordered that King Cobra Nefertari was to be killed, confirming that indeed Sabo is innocent of this accusation. However, we don't know exactly why the Gorosei ordered that their subordinates kill King Nefertari. Imsama then decides to react on the information that Sabo was alive in the kingdom of Lelouch. So then they take a map and scratches the kingdom of Lelouch out. And at the same moment that Imsama crosses out Lelouch on the map, dark clouds with lightning hover over this country, drastically changing the setting in a few seconds. Then something gigantic appears over the island, above the clouds, and it's not possible to see or even identify the shape of this object that's falling from the sky. But it starts shooting laser beams and small projectiles all over the island, producing a huge explosion in the form of a sphere. The island is totally destroyed by the lightning, while the large unknown object still remained hovering in the air, which means that it had to be a weapon, one that we have been waiting to be introduced to for a very long time and have never seen. This just has to be one of the remaining ancient weapons that we have been waiting to see. Uranus, the god of the sky. And this weapon was able to take the lives of everyone in that kingdom in an instant, and even erase the existence of this island completely, which has to mean that Imsama possesses one of the 3 ancient weapons. Now, if this is in fact what's going on, we gotta be honest, we don't know if it's the map that's Uranus or if Imsama themselves may be, because after all, Poseidon is the mermaid Shirahoshi. So it's very well within the realm of possibilities that Uranus is a living being, because Uranus is considered a deity, and so is Imsama. Now, understand that this power has only been seen by us, the omnipotent reader, but it's very likely it could have been used quite a few times, and really a long time ago during the God Valley incident, because all we know is there was a huge thing that went down on this island where the celestial dragons were in the middle of a conflict in which Roger and Garp had to team up to take down Rocksteady Zebek and the rest of his crew. But after the incident, the whole island disappeared from the map. So this means that Imsama used Uranus to erase this island, making sure that nobody ever learned about what happened there, not even Garp and Roger's team up. But it seems that this power that Imsama potentially has may may only be able to destroy islands where he knows the location and can see it on a map, which means that this would be why he couldn't ever destroy Laugh Tale, because this island doesn't exist on any map. I mean, just think about what it takes to find Laugh Tale. But with the destruction of the Lucia Kingdom, this could end up being the decree that Sabo lost his life for real. However, there's also the possibility that Sabo knew something like this would happen, and for this reason, he passed on the wrong information of his location to test something. And if Sabo is still alive, he may have even witnessed this incredible event, proving that the world government may possess this great power, making the world government an incredible world threat if the organization were to ever go out of control. This power could destroy all kingdoms, any kingdom, and even all revolutionaries should Imsama discover the location of the Revolutionary Army's bases. So Sabo would know he had to be careful that he didn't pass on this information about his companions to the world government. And finally in this leak, we have the information that Luffy managed to find Jewelry Bonney, and apparently she managed to escape from Mary Joie, but had some difficulties since she was apparently weakened and caught up in a battle. The Straw Hat crew finds her a few days before the first part of the chapter, where Luffy's dream takes place, and they find her in the sea in the form of a child near Winter Island with some strong weather. They rescue Bonney and then take her inside the boat so she can recover. And we don't know if she's awake or still unconscious. However, in this chapter, we get the information about her bounty, as well as it was shown about some of the other supernovas during the Wano arc. Now, as far as we know, Jewelry Bonney doesn't seem to have had any major accomplishments while Luffy was on his adventure to defeat Kaido after the time skip. It may have been more likely that she had been on her quest to find Kuma, and as a part of this quest, Jewelry Bonney had to begin acting as a spy to infiltrate Mary Joie and rescue Kuma. So for these reasons, she wouldn't be doing anything to draw attention to herself. Besides, she also during that same time was defeated by Tej, and then caught by the Marines, and finally was able to escape, and only then after all that was she able to start going after and trying to find Kuma. Even still, Jewelry Bonney has a current bounty of 320 million berries, which is pretty high if you think about it, even if she hasn't done much since the time skip, but still lower if you compare it to the rest of the supernova, and it possibly could be the lowest bounty of all the supernova. So as our story moves forward, it's quite possible that we could see Jewelry Bonney team up at least temporarily with the Straw Hats, possibly even to accomplish some common goal. And this would easily make her bounty increase at the end of this new arc that we're just about to begin. But with all that said, my friends, we would love to know what you think about it now. What do you think happened when Kobe actually saw someone sitting on the empty throne? Do you think he just saw the silhouette and that, or do you think he may have actually gotten to get a glimpse of Imsama's face? Next, do you think Sabo is actually dead? Do you think he might have perished on the Kingdom of Lucia? Or do you think perhaps he was testing the world government because he was listening in? I mean, he is after all the second in command of the Revolutionary Army, so Sabo's no fool. What do you think? Do you think this was all a way to find out what the world government has up their sleeve? And finally, what do you think this dream of Luffy's is? Because we know that he shared it to other people, and when even Rayleigh or Shanks tells somebody else about it, there always seems to be quite a big kind of response. Let us know what you think in the comments below. So as we wrap up this second round of leaks for chapter 1060 of One Piece, I want to thank all of you for watching the video all the way up to the very end. Be sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, give us a like or hit that red subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I hope to see you all in our next video, and let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.